The moon. It's our closest neighbor, orbiting just a few 100,000 miles away. We've mapped its surface, walked its craters, and mined its dust for secrets of the solar system's past. But there's a part of the moon we never see. A place cloaked in permanent darkness from Earth's point of view. A place that's been the focus of military interest, alien conspiracies, and now, an international race to colonize. It's called the far side of the moon. And for decades we've asked the same question: what's really up there? Let's get something straight. The so-called dark side of the moon isn't actually always dark. The moon is tidally locked, which means it rotates at the same rate it orbits Earth. So one side always faces us, while the far side faces away. But both sides experience sunlight, day and night, just not at the same time. Still, because we never see the far side from Earth, it became a natural target for speculation. Why haven't we gone there more often? Why does it look so different, more cratered, more rugged? And perhaps the most human question of all, is something hiding there? Long before satellites mapped the moon's far side, strange stories began to circulate. In the 1950s, as Cold War tensions peaked, rumors of Soviet lunar stations began to appear in Western tabloids. Then came the alien theories, from supposed towers photographed in early Apollo images, to blurry shadows claimed to be spacecraft or installations. And then there was the music. So, back in 1969, the Apollo 10 astronauts reported hearing what they called weird music while passing over the moon's far side, totally cut off from any radio contact with Earth. NASA, for its part, just brushed it off as simple radio interference, but, that didn't stop the conspiracy machine from kicking into high gear. Some people started believing the far side was actually a base for extraterrestrials. Others claimed NASA had discovered structures up there and then covered them up, and honestly, even now if you search deep enough, you'll still find people convinced that we've never really left. That something is still up there, watching. Here's what we do know. NASA never landed any Apollo missions on the far side. The terrain over there is just way more rugged. Communication is a whole lot harder. And back in the 60s and 70s, that made it just too risky. But hey, we've still studied it. In 1959, the Soviet Luna 3 probe actually took the first blurry images of the far side. Later on, orbiters from NASA and other agencies mapped it out in much higher resolution. And in 2019, China became the first nation to land a spacecraft, Chang'e 4, on the far side. The lander and its rover, U-22, touched down in the South Pole Aitken Basin, which is honestly one of the largest known impact craters in the entire solar system. They found dust, craters, and surprisingly deep layers of lunar rock. No aliens, no towers. Here's where things get interesting. The moon's far side is basically radio silent, shielded from all of Earth's noisy electromagnetic emissions. That actually makes it the perfect spot to build a radio telescope capable of detecting those faint signals from the early universe. NASA has floated the idea of building a lunar crater telescope, maybe inside a mile-wide pit using robotic spiders, believe it or not. Meanwhile, China has some pretty ambitious plans of its own. They've proposed building a permanent lunar base near the moon's south pole, which actually straddles both the near and far sides. The region has water ice and long stretches of sunlight, making it ideal for solar power and, well, sustainability. The United States is not far behind. Through the Artemis program, NASA plans to establish a long-term human presence on the moon, including base camps. So what was once conspiracy is now turning into competition, which leads to the next twist. What happens when we build there and someone else already has? While science drives most lunar exploration, a handful of anomalies continue to stir the pot. Some satellite images show strange geometric shadows, possibly compression artifacts, or possibly something more. Others point to unnatural reflections or towers in low-resolution scans. In 2012, researchers analyzing lunar photos spotted what looked like a perfectly angular formation in a far-side crater. Natural rock? Light trick? Or structure? NASA says nothing's been confirmed. China has never publicly reported anything unusual during its far-side mission, but they've also been tight-lipped about U-22's deeper finds. The rover detected a gel-like substance in a small crater, unusual enough for Chinese scientists to reorient and investigate. The substance turned out to be glassy impact melt, but again, mystery lingers in absence. The question remains, if someone did find something strange, would we ever be told? It's easy to forget, but space has always been militarized. Back in the 1960s, the United States planned Project Horizon, a secret proposal to build an army base on the moon. The Soviets had similar plans too, and while none were built, interest in military outposts never really went away. Today, both China and the United States are openly discussing strategic dominance of cislunar space. That's the area between Earth and the moon. There's talk of communication relays, surveillance satellites, and yes, even weaponized satellites. Why? Well, because whoever controls the moon's far side controls a blind spot. It's a place where communication from Earth just can't reach, a spot where you can listen without being heard. So is it really so far-fetched to imagine something hidden there? But let's step back for a second. Why does the moon's far side feel so unnerving? Maybe it's psychological. Humans are wired to fear what they can't see. A hidden side of a familiar object just triggers something primal. We're used to the moon being a comforting presence in the sky. But the idea of a hidden hemisphere, silent, unseen, and potentially inhabited, well, that ticks all the right boxes for myth-making. We project our fears into that darkness. Sometimes we imagine aliens, sometimes secrets, sometimes ourselves. And in the age of deepfakes and viral misinformation, the truth becomes harder to hold on to. So maybe the bigger question isn't what's on the far side of the moon, but why we need there to be something. Let's fast forward. NASA plans to return humans to the moon by the late 2020s. China aims for its own crewed missions soon after. Both plan to mine resources, build habitats, and possibly use the moon as a launch point to Mars. But what if something unexpected is discovered? Not an alien base, not a monolith, but evidence, ancient microbial life, or a meteorite fragment from deep space, or even signals? Faint, distant, not from Earth. Would that change how we view the far side? Would it make us think twice about colonizing, or would we keep digging anyway? The moon doesn't spin fast enough to reveal its far side to us. But we've spun enough stories to make up for it. It's a place of mystery, both real and imagined. A place where science, myth, and politics collide. And soon, maybe very soon, we'll be walking on it again. This time with rovers, telescopes, 3D printed domes. This time the far side will be a frontier. So what lives in the dark side of the moon? Maybe nothing, maybe something, or maybe just our own reflection, sharpened by silence and staring back.